Hello?
Hi.
What's up?
It's kind of a larger thing, so I'm just giving everybody an update. My dad is taking me and Elias to. He got bit on the chin. Huh?
By what?
Dog.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it a big ass dog or what?
Yeah.
Who's dog?
Hmm?
Dog.
I don't know.
Huh?
I don't know.
You're just a random dog? So
Yeah.
what the fuck was it? You just let him run around and not watching him? Let him
No.
be bit by dogs?
No. My dad and I were watching him. Like I said, I was just giving an update. I'll let you know what happens.
Oh, tell me what happened to him in a text message. Send me a picture. Is he all fucked up or what?
I'm not sure right now.
Send me a picture of it. Okay?
Okay.
Alright, bye.
Bye.
I think it's hilarious how you are trying to take my kids away, but then you're not even watching him and let him get bit in the fucking face by a dog. Send me the fucking picture already, dude.
So the first time I told this story, I actually told it on TikTok, and I just wanted to talk about it a little bit more in depth. This is the year where I am focusing so much energy onto things from the past, just kind of talking about everything and really looking back on everything, right? So I want to talk about this as well. What you looking for? Ooh, you want me to peel it for you?
Yeah.
Cool beans. Let me see it.
And Mom, do you want to play with me?
What are you trying to play?
We're going to play Fruit World.
Wow. Is it okay if Mommy records a YouTube video? But that's what I'm doing actively right now. Here's your orange, by the way. Well.
I grabbed this for brother.
Oh, then you should probably go give it to brother. Okay, I had to find a new spot, so I am borrowing the space where my uncle does his filming. He does live streams and stuff on Twitch. He's actually, his channel is one of the linked channels in my linked channel stuff. Yeah. So, just if anyone was wondering. But yeah. I'm really just delaying the fact that this is an upsetting video. And I'm probably gonna make a lot of people very mad with choices that I am making for this video. But April 28th. We have our ISC, which is an initial status conference. That's really just when the court is like, okay, these are your names. This is what everybody has to do. Does everybody understand that? At least that was what my experience was. I don't know if that's actually what an ISC is supposed to be, but that's what it was for us. And I submitted literally everything I could except for the evidence at that point. Like, I had my parenting plan in, I had all this other stuff. So he already was very unhappy with me because of the parenting plan. I don't know everything that was said. I do know that he accused me of lying to the courts about where we lived. When I did what the paperwork said to do and listed the places that we lived within the time frame that the court paperwork asked for. I still don't understand how that was me lying to the courts for withholding information that makes him look very unstable that the court didn't ask for. But that was his opinion. And so throughout all of that, there was just like this moment, this weird moment. So like all of that happens, everything is dealt with on that, phone call is done and over with, thank goodness. At one point, I said that this was a domestic violence, like, case, that there were concerns for safety. When asked about it, this man laughed on the phone call. A recorded phone call. He laughed. Just throwing it out there. Putting that information into the world. Want it to be known. Now, I was upset about it. I was hanging out at my uncle's back when he still lived in Colorado, because we are not in Colorado right now. But I was hanging out at my uncle's. I was sitting outside, and I was talking to my dad. My uncle was in his office, and my uncle had his dog outside with us, like, was letting his dog chill out here, outside with us, and I turned my head to look at Levi, who was spinning around in circles with, like, a dandelion, like one of the dead ones that the seeds would fly off of, one of those ones, swinging around with one of those in his arm, just woo, super cute, absolutely loved it. And in those 2 seconds, I guess my dad also turned his head to also look at Levi, and that's when shit got bad. Elias proceeded to climb underneath the dog to try and get into his doghouse. Now, my uncle's dog is a very well-trained dog. At the same time, my uncle's dog is a very protective dog, territorial dog. He cares about his spaces. Like, he's also the kind of dog that he doesn't like it when people are in his face. Like, he has clear boundaries. He lets you know the boundaries. If the boundaries get pushed, he will correct boundaries. Now, when you correct a puppy on boundaries, dogs, they can only grab with their mouth, right? So, he grabbed with his mouth to correct a behavior that he was not okay with, a boundary that was being ignored, because he has a lot of boundaries as a dog. Like, he's the only dog I've ever met that has boundaries like that, okay? But grabs him and proceeds to freak out because Elias is now crying, and it scared him. So he's, like, sniffing at his face and trying to figure it out, what's going on, and licking him, and, like, his chin was bit right here. So every lick, it's like moving the skin. It's not a good time for either of them. I am very calm in very hectic situations. So I see what's happening. I'm getting up. I am getting to my son as fast as possible. And I am telling my other son to go in the house, to be further back from the situation, to not get involved. Not because I was worried about the dog doing anything to him, but because I didn't want him getting in the way. I didn't want him freaking out. I didn't want him to see his brother's face like that. He was very, very little at this point in time, but I didn't want him scared too. So I'm keeping him back and away, and I'm focusing on Elias, and I'm telling him to stop moving. I'm telling him to calm down. I'm telling him to just look at me, look at Mom. And my uncle comes out to see what happens. I say that I need a washcloth. He brings me a washcloth. And I believe my uncle was alerted to it when my father ran inside. My father freaked the fuck out. He is not calm in hectic, stressful situations. He saw the dog, and only saw the dog on top of his grandchild, and proceeded to push him off. I don't know if he pushed him off with his feet, which I guess is technically kicking, or if he, like, pushed with his hands, but I do know that he physically moved the dog off. At that point, my eyes were locked on Elias to get to him. So I didn't see what part of his body he used, but he did, like, forcibly move the dog off of Elias, which, yes, I was fine with that happening because I needed to get to Elias. And this lovely dog, he's napping right there, he was not letting anybody get close to Elias because he felt horrible. And you could see it in his face. Like, he is such a well-trained dog that he knows when he fucks up. You don't even need to reprimand him. I mean, you still reprimand him. My uncle still reprimands his dog. But, like, you don't need to, for it to, like, click that he did something wrong. He is so well trained. So, forcibly moving him off of the child was necessary. The dog tries to stand up because he just got pushed onto, like, his back. So he starts getting up, and my dad punches him in the face. Like, hard as fuck punches him in the face. Punches him so hard in the face that the dog fell back down on the floor. It was my child. And I wasn't that fucking upset over it. I wasn't upset enough over it to hit a dog in the face for acting like a dog. Like, it's a fucking dog. That's how dogs reprimand puppies. This is a small child. He is part of the pack as far as the dog understands. So, I'm snatching up my kid. I'm holding a washcloth to his face to put pressure on it, because what do you do with bleeding? You put pressure on it. Duh. I am focused. I am in mom mode. I've got this shit. Okay? I called their dad in the backseat of my dad's car on the way to the hospital. At this point, there was also no idea how bad the bite was. Nothing. It was all very unknown elements. Because I wasn't fucking looking at it. Okay? Now, you heard the phone call. You heard the voice memo. You know damn well that all he was asking for was a fucking picture because we just got done in court and he was like, ooh, something to make you look like a fucking worthless, shitty mom. Send it to me now. I need it. I need that in my life. I want to prove to the court that you are unfit. Knowing fully damn well that he would have been the worst fucking option to have in that situation. It was a terrible fucking situation. I hate myself to this day for that fucking situation. My son's smile is crooked because of the stitches and the scar. Every time that he smiles at me, I have to remember that that happened because I took my fucking eyes off of my kid. To look at my other kid, but I took my eyes off him. And something fucking bad happened. Because while I can tell Levi, this is the rule, you need to listen to the rule, and Levi just fucking does it, Elias says, this is the rule, huh? Not for long. Very different children. I walk into the emergency room. I am covered in his blood, holding him, still holding the washcloth on his face, because that thing was not going to let go of his chin until I was fucking, until doctors showed up and were able to take a look at it. I was going to fucking hold that thing on there. Wasn't touching it until they were ready for me to, until a doctor looked me in my fucking eyes and said, you could let go of that now. That was the plan. Okay? That's it the entire time. Now, my dad is still in the emergency room with us, and I'm reading these messages, waiting on the doctors. They were very fast. I want to make that known. They were very fast. The nurse came in, took everything, got the doctors. They were back there so fucking fast. Like this hospital was great. The staff was phenomenal. I absolutely loved them. I just want to put that out there now. But my dad is sitting in the room with us. He's still pissed off and fucking just freaking the fuck out over everything. He was no help at all in the situation. I needed calm energy to help keep me calm. It also didn't help that my baby daddy is sending me those text messages and sending me that voice memo, and I listened to the voice memo holding my son while they waited, because the other thing the nurse did before the doctors could come and take a look was she gave him a drug, a shot, gave him a drug to mellow him out, just calm him down, so that way they could actually take a look at it. And they were like, he's not going to remember anything of this part. No, the memory's just going to be gone. And he's just sitting in the ceiling, staring at the ceiling, and there's fish on the ceiling. He's, look, Mom, fish. And I said, yeah, fish. And he goes, that one's blue, and that one's blue, and that one's blue. He's just fucking high. loving life. Most relaxed I've ever seen this child, including when he is dead asleep. But I'm listening to this voice memo, the voice memo from the beginning of the video, and I'm in tears. And I let my dad listen to it. I don't remember what he said, but all I know is that my dad frustrates me when it comes to me and the ex, because when we still had a relationship, it was very much so like, I'm on nobody's side, I'm here for both of you. And I was like, that is not the fucking, like, it's okay to be civil. There's still boundaries you should set for somebody that doesn't want to be involved. Just saying. He shouldn't be able to call you and complain about shit and get you involved in shit with me. He should never be comfortable with that. I met you when I was 13. My ex doesn't need to be that comfortable with you. So I'm dealing with all of that, which is adding a lot more stress onto my fucking day. I'm in tears, convinced that this one thing was gonna get my kid. Like, I was so upset over everything and so convinced that the courts were gonna hear about this and were gonna be like, oh, you're clearly unfit, that while my son was in surgery to get his stitches, because they put him under to give him the stitches and clean out everything and shit, right? But while he was in that, I'm in tears looking at, like, apartments in New Mexico. Because I was like, there's no way that I'm not going to have to move down there just to be closer to my kids. I was convinced that this was it, that they were going to be put into a horrible fucking home in an abusive situation. And I was planning for how close I had to be to fucking be near my kids. So he's in surgery, and I'm waiting in the waiting room. My uncle comes, and he sits with me, and we talk for a while. And, like, I'm getting phone calls from family because my father is also telling the family everything that happened. Like, he's calling fucking everybody. And I'm getting calls and text messages from all of them. I'm talking to my mom and her side of the family. And there's just, like, a lot of shit happening. My phone is blowing up on me while I'm looking at apartments that I can maybe afford. And I look at my uncle, and I'm apologizing to him. Like, people are freaking out. They're talking about the dog. They're talking about, like, what to do about the dog. All kinds of other crazy-ass shit. And I'm sitting there as the mother of the child that was bit, going, there's nothing to do about the dog. He's not a bad dog. Now, my father also was apparently making it sound much worse to everybody than it actually was. I had people thinking that Elias was dead or mauled and, like, in critical condition. That's what everybody that was calling me and messaging me thought was going on with him. Which I think really solidifies the fact that my father is not to be trusted in stressful, traumatic situations. Because he panicked so much that he made it significantly worse. Meanwhile, I'm sitting there apologizing to my uncle. And I apologized to my uncle because I was like, I know everybody's going to message you about your dog. I know everybody's going to call you and ask you about your dog. I know that you're about to get a shitstorm of opinions and all this other crap. And I was like, I'm sorry for that. Because that's not fucking okay. I know your dog. I know that he is a good dog. I know that he did not maul my child. It was one bite. My kid is okay. He is being helped right now. And I'm fucking sorry. I'm sorry that this happened, and that you're gonna be told what you need to do to rectify the situation. And it was frustrating me because the only adults that needed to be spoken to about how they fucked up and what they needed to do better was me and my father. We were the adults that were watching. We were the adults that took our eyes off of my son. Like, it was our responsibility. It's not a child's fault for acting like a fucking child. And it is not a dog's fault for acting like a fucking dog. It was our fault. We were the adults. It wasn't my uncle's fault. He gave us space because my dad wanted to have a one-on-one private conversation. And he was respectful of the space that my dad asked for. It was 1,000% my fault and my father's fault. And I felt fucking horrible for what my family was going to say needed to happen to the dog. Hi, Ryu. Hi, Ryu. Can I give you love? See? Good boy. Hi, Ryu. He's such a good boy. See, that's the other thing, too. He has, like, those boundaries of, like, not in his face and stuff like that. That's, like, when he's still, like, doesn't know you. He takes a while to warm up to people. He loves me. He loves my kids. He avoids my kids because they're fucking crazy, but he does love them. But yeah. All of that happened. And when the doctors, when they came out after, like, surgery and stuff, they were like, everything went great. He's all cleaned up. He's going to be just fine. Like, he's just in the room now. We're just waiting for him to wake up. Everything is good. And they stressed to me so many times that this wasn't what they thought it was going to be. This was really the best case scenario because they heard dog bite and the receptionist saw me covered in my kid's blood and holding him, that everybody thought that this toddler just got mauled. And they're like, it was a clean bite, easy fix. Like, the dog is a known dog, so you know that, like, he's up to date on all his shots and everything. Like, best case scenario. This is where I know I'm gonna make people very angry. At one point, my ex was still demanding a photo. And I sent him a video of our son, and I said, this is the best I can do. But here's the text message conversation. I am deciding to show the video. Now, in showing this video, it is not because I want to garner sympathy or views because of this little clip. That's why it's at the very end. That's why it's nowhere in the fucking thumbnail and shit. I want to talk about all of the truth. And the truth is, I had to send him something for him to stop harassing me over it, calling me and saying mean shit, sending fucking horrible, rude-ass voice memos. And I'm fucking mad about it. Because if the roles were reversed, I wouldn't have even thought about, oh, this will be so great for my side on court. I would have thought solely about my son. My questions wouldn't have been demanding to send a picture for the majority of it. It would have been, what hospital are you taking him to? Will you keep me updated? Will you let the nurses know that I am driving out there? And that it may take a while, but if you guys are still there, to, like, let me in. Because I want to be there with my kid. I want to make sure that my kid knows that I am fucking there for them. Like, that would have been me. I understand why it wasn't him, because I understand that a narcissist wouldn't think that fucking way. So, this is what I sent him to shut him the fuck up.
Look.
I see.
And like, I don't know what the fuck he did with that video. I don't know if he showed it to everybody. I don't know if he actually wanted it for court or if he wanted it to fucking show off to his family in like this weird fucking way. Cause like, when Elias broke his arm, I was alone with him in the fucking hospital for that too. He was making plans to go hang out with his friends to leave me alone to take care of him at, like, the day he got back from the hospital and shit, after he was getting his cast and shit done. And like, he relished in that injury. He relished in the fact that he was able to just really treat me like a horrible person over it, but he also relished in all of the sympathy that he received when he'd post a picture with Elias. And like how bad people felt for him when he told the story. Not Elias, just him. And maybe I'll end this video with something that Rachel posts if she decides to post about it. But I don't know if she does. Like, it's not up to me what she posts and what she talks about and says. But if she includes something about it, I'll fucking put it at the end of this video. I'm so mad at myself for ever fucking being with him. Fucking 6 years. Because I thought he could be a better person. Don't be stupid like me. If you have a fucking guy like that, fucking run.
Alright, it's time to talk about the dog bite incident. So, the way it went down on my side, because I was with the narcissist at the time, we were living in different states, right? Angie had let him know that one of the boys had been bitten by a dog. He immediately started freaking out, asking what dog it was, what happened, screaming at Angie, not letting her get a word in edgewise, per usual. And then messaging her like, send me pictures, over and over and over again. Well, we were just sitting at the house, chilling, relaxing, and then all of a sudden he starts blowing up. My son got bit by a dog because Angie left them in the yard by themselves and was unsupervised and all these things, and I'm gonna go over there and the dog and everybody in their noggins, and I'm just like, where the fuck did this come from? Because again, we're just sitting there relaxing, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere he starts flipping his shit. And then he's up like moving around, tossing stuff around, like just very angry. And I'm like, okay, first and foremost, I understand this is a scary time. It's a scary time for her too. That is also her child. Okay? She's doing the right thing. She's taking the baby to the hospital. Like, I need you to breathe for a second. This could have ended a lot worse than it is right now. So breathe. No, I'm going to go over there and the dog and beat everybody and like all of these things. And I'm just like, so I get stressed out and I walk into the other room and I can still hear him yelling and freaking out and all of these things. And eventually he calms down after a while once he knows Baby Boy's home and, you know, like he's okay, even though he's not okay, but he's okay, if you understand what I'm saying. But like that whole incident, like really opened my eyes as to like how bad he speaks to Angie. Like, he had spoken to her before in front of me, and it wasn't as bad, but oh my god. Oh my god. And I was just like, this is ridiculous. And at the time, I was pretty mad at Angie because of the way the narcissist spun it. Like I said, he said that she had left the kids in the yard by themselves, and this dog had been aggressive before, and they got in there, and Baby Boy got bit. That's the way he spun it to me until I figured out the actual story. Because again, I went through his phone and I found out the truth about a lot of stuff that he didn't want to tell me. Like, including him talking to both of his exes while he was with me, saying that I wasn't shit and that he didn't actually want to be with me and he wanted to be with them. Both of them. Angie and the other ex that I will not mention ever because she has not given me permission to. The only time I'll mention is saying the other ex. But, yeah, so I found out the truth about a lot of things that he was lying to me about, just reading through his phone, because this man is not smart enough to delete things. Permanently delete things. Like, come on, if you're gonna cheat or want to try to cheat, delete it! So nobody finds it. Jesus! Or just be smart and don't do it at all. But he wasn't smart. We already know this. He was not creditable enough, or smart enough, or intelligent enough to do any of those things. Like, I wouldn't have been surprised if I pulled up to my house one day and somebody was there and he was cheating in my house, in my bed. I would not have been surprised by that. And it's funny because the number one thing that he would always tell me was, I'd never cheat. I think those people are disgusting. Blah, 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 blah. I've had people cheat on me. Blah, 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 blah. But then every opportunity he got to talk poorly on me and say that he doesn't want to be with me or speak with adult workers, he took it. He took that opportunity. And his excuse always was, you're not giving me enough. I don't know. I've always learned you're held accountable for your actions. And actions have consequences. And if you're treating your significant other poorly and putting them in a bad mental headspace every single day, including to the point where they don't want to be on this planet anymore, no wonder they don't want to give you any. And I'm not saying that I used it as punishment, but I was just never, what's the word I'm looking for? In the mood to do it because of the headspace that I was in. I always felt like I wasn't good enough. I always felt like no matter what I did, it wasn't going to be good enough because he made me feel that way. And he literally told me that. So why would I be in the mood? Why would you ever think that I would be in the mood if you're putting me in that headspace and telling me those things? And also telling other women that I'm not shit. And that I don't mean anything to you after we've been together for a year, 2 years, speaking to adult workers every opportunity that you got because I'm not giving you enough because of the way you're treating me. Like, the dog bite incident was a very short story, so I'm just adding some more random ranting about the narcissist. But yeah, the dog bite incident, I was like, wow, she's scared too, and you're speaking to her like she's an illiterate person that's done something wrong and needs to be punished. Anyway, guys,